Hi guys, I decided to review the game that Jesse posted. He asked for a review because he lost this matchup a lot, so he wanted to know what his mistakes are. So I'm going to take a look, maybe I can help him, and hopefully some of the others who have trouble with this matchup. Before we start, I don't claim to be expert on Men of the West. It is my worst faction, but I think against goblins I do pretty decent. So that's why I decided to review this. Anyway, Jesse, he picked Elven Wood, and Silverbane picked Tainted Land. I believe this is a neutral host. He has Daryl as host because it's a tourney game. So Jesse's going with a generic forward drag strategy, which is not a bad thing to do against goblins. But Goblin is going with fast cave, so he can produce Goblin warriors pretty early and maybe even attempt a creep check. So let's see how it will work out. And there's another farm, while Goblin got a tunnel in the back of his base. And he's going with a second cave early on. And as you can see, he covered the Elven Wood. So both of them will not gain any more advantage unless they make a mistake to use Elven Wood. However, Jesse decided to rush the Goblin. It's not a bad idea. I do prefer creeping, to be honest, because it gives you some more cash early game, but rushing is also not a bad idea. However, chasing those Goblin warriors early game is a bad idea though. He should, well, he doesn't do that, so it's all good. And the Goblin is now making some more warriors to protect himself. Well, I do believe if you go for a rush, you should rush at least 2 soldiers before you go for a pike, because I think 1 soldier is too easily dealt with, even by goblins early game. And in this case, Goblin doesn't even have that much of tunnels outside of the range of the fort. He does have 2, but he has enough Goblin warriors by now to deal with the soldier. So I think a second soldier before pike would be better, because this way he would not have enough if you attack one from the front and one from the back or from the side. So maybe a little bit of a macro mistake. And as you can see, those Goblin warriors will deal with them. He is using the stances correctly on defensive against goblins. But Goblin didn't manage to deal any damage either. Alright, so Jess is going with the stables. I think both archery range or stables is a good call. Archery range might be slightly cheaper and it will get you a lot of big army. And gobs struggle to deal with big armies, and it will force Goblin to go spiders instead of maybe trolls. But those Goblin archers are a very big problem, so cavalry can be good as well. Goblin archers are very effective against Men of the West, because I think only cavalry can counter them effective, or rangers, but rangers are mid-game to late-game units. So anyway, he just is going for another creep, and he is protecting his base with his soldiers. And there is a knight almost here, so he will be successful. But those archers will definitely do some damage to those soldiers. However, he is still creeping, so it's all good. But I think the main problem already is that men should deal more damage early game, because the longer the game takes, the better units Goblin will produce to deal with men. And yeah, because Spider Riders and half trolls, well, he decided to go for trolls because Jesse went for knights. I think it's easier for men to deal with trolls or half trolls than knights. So maybe stable is a better idea. Also because it will deal with those annoying archers, which are a big problem. Alright, he lost the builder there. As he shouldn't have, because he had cavalry, but he wasn't paying attention, I think. Alright. Alright, so there was nothing in his base protecting, so this was a mistake by not going in to kill some of those buildings, maybe especially this one, because it would cripple Goblin a lot. And by the time he will attack this, it will be already too late, because now there are goblins here and there will be a troll, and at the moment he has nothing to deal with the troll. So that was a crucial moment, I believe, which you missed. He should have attacked with those knights and those soldiers, because he could have at least taken down a tunnel and a cave, or maybe two caves, or if he sent all his forces, he could easily take down this fissure. Let's see, Boromir. Well, I don't think Boromir is useful at this point in the game, because, well, there is nothing really that Boromir can counter at the moment. I think it would be better to go Faramir instead, regardless whether the goblin is going with trolls or spiders, because Faramir is better against both than Boromir. And yeah, this should not happen. You should not lose an entire battalion of knights to a troll. So that was a little bit of a mistake, and it will be a costly one, I think. So now there are half trolls, so cavalry will be less effective from now on. However, he does have archery range. So at this point in the game, I think the biggest mistake was Boromir and not going to destroy those buildings. Alright. Nice crush of those archers. And he should crush this. Yes, this was very nice, because they were clumped, so... Alright. Pretty decent micro. As you can see, against a somewhat big army, goblins are struggling a lot, especially if there's cavalry. And now there will be archers in the mix, but this troll can be a little bit of a problem if, yes, well, not if that happens. Anyway, so far, man is doing pretty decent. I think maybe a little light on harassment, but everything else is pretty decent. So I wonder how will he lose. Alright. So Goblin is losing a lot of army. Let's check command points. 9 for Goblin and 19 for man, so he's 10 power points ahead. I really wonder how will he lose this game. So let's see. Alright.
Riders into battle.
Okay, so those spikes should... I think when you see your opponent is building some of those tower expansions or whatever expansions they are, you should try and get some units to attack them before they are ready, because either your opponent will delete them or you will destroy them and he will lose money. So I think if he didn't build them beforehand and you see he's building them while you're attacking, it's a good idea to send 1 or 2 units. Maybe that cavalry would do the trick to destroying it. And now he will be able to camp and you will lose some units because you didn't destroy them while they were building. Anyway, however, Goblin at the moment is pretty much fucked. He doesn't have any production buildings and he doesn't have any units. So, and he's behind in power points by a big margin, but he has some money though. And they're equal in command points. Alright, so I'm really curious, how will you lose this game? Alright, so Man of the West will creep, while in the meantime harassing this side, and there's Gorkil already on the field, and he will be leveling up on those knights. I think you should take those knights back to base and get a House of Healing or a well. It's not worth to destroy one tunnel and losing your leveled up knights like that. Alright, so far so good. So Goblin is rebuilding his base and he's going with Shelob. So now you definitely need Faramir, and you basically should now go heroes as well, because Shelob is a pain in the ass. You will not be able to kill them with pikes because those pikes are slow and Shelob is fast. And Shelob is also good against cavalry, so you should really invest in Faramir, Boromir and Aragorn, because otherwise you will have big problem with those heroes, and I am suspecting that those heroes are the reason you will lose. But I'm not going to jump to conclusions just at the moment. Alright. Let's see, what about money? Okay, so you got Boromir back, and you went with Rohirrim, or at least you upgrade your stable. I think at this point it's not a good call, because there is actually nothing that Rohirrim are going to counter. He doesn't even have a spider pit yet, he has half trolls, and Rohirrim are expensive and they are worse at crushing than knights. So I think going with a level 2 stables is not ideal at this point in the game. Especially because your opponent went with half trolls, and he's now has both Shelob and Gorkil. So dealing with Rohirrim will not be such a big problem as it would be if you went with them early game. I think against goblins, Rohirrim are only useful to deal with spiderlings and spider riders, and maybe to sneak behind and destroy some of those production buildings. And at this point in the game, I don't think it was the best choice. So, are you going with level 3? So maybe you just did it to protect your stable. In that case, that's alright, but I think you need Faramir and Aragorn as soon as possible. because it will be a pain dealing with those heroes without them. Alright, so you picked a rallying call. I don't think you should have done that because, well, your Boromir was almost on level 5. And yeah, you should have just leveled him up so you could work towards Earthquake or maybe some other power point, especially because Goblin can just use debuff. So but the debuff is gone. Alright, let's see.
Fire! Fire! Quick! Get out of the way!
Alright, his Gorky will go down. And you're ahead in power points still. Yes. Alright. So the spider pit, well, I don't think you should use the firecrackers. Yes, that's nice.
Let's get this trebuchet where we can use it.
Alright, so Goblin is dealing some damage from the sides while you're going through the middle. He didn't manage to get the Spider Rider out, so Archer spam is good at this point. But instead of Rohirrim's, you should go for banners and heroes, like I said. So I think that is. Oh, he did manage to get a Spider Rider out.
We're ready to ride out.
Anyway. Yeah, this is a problem. And as you can see, Rohirrim cannot do much because there are half trolls. And
let's get this trebuchet where we can use it.
And that's a problem. And as you can see, Shelob is very effective. But you are leveling up your power points pretty nicely. However, you need to do something about this side. Anyway, too bad you lost the trebuchet, but there's another one coming. Does he have Watcher yet? Not yet, but I suppose that Watcher will take care of this soon. Well, actually, I think you could have finished it with those, maybe, or maybe not. Not sure. Oh well, they're debuffed, so. Well, maybe Fort will go down, definitely if you use Earthquake on it soon. Alright. Please don't tell me that Fort goes down. Alright? Oh my, alright. The fort went down, so how the fuck did you manage to lose? Alright, let's check the money. Okay, so he has already 3k. And he's he's expanding very well. Alright, and you lost. Alright, so you won't be able to take care of this, but you will have Earthquake soon. Alright, now Rohirrim are handy because he cannot bring out any units out of the tunnels. Alright, so he almost has enough money for Fortress. That's because of Scavenger, which is pretty damn OP. Let's see. Okay, once again, I think you need heroes. You should consider banners and that trio on foot, Boromir, Faramir and Aragorn. Because of their leadership, because of their ability to deal with anything actually, they are a very nice combo. And they are very useful in any matchup actually. But especially now, because there is nothing else you can do against Shelob. Those spikes are too slow. And well, and cavalry cannot do much because there are a lot of half trolls. Right, he took those units out in time, but there was a nice crush over here. And as you can see, Shelob walked right through those spikes and it didn't phase her one bit. So that's why you need heroes to counter this hero, because, well, she's annoying and she is especially powerful against Men of the West. Oh, so he used Earthquake, but it wasn't enough to kill the fort, obviously. And the goblin is rebuilding again, but you cannot deal with this at the moment, so... Alright. And the Scorpion King will stun your Boromir too. Alright. Let's see, command point. Well, he has his fortress back and he has better economy. And he has better heroes. And, well, actually he also has half trolls, which are very good against that cavalry, and that's your main strength at the moment. And yeah, I think you should not ignore those units over here, because you don't have many farms, you don't have much map control, and he will soon have Drogoth if he goes that way, or upgrades. He already has all of the possible production buildings, so he's going with either one. I think it will be Drogoth. Let's see. Well, maybe not. What is he doing? He's upgrading. And he got darkness, so that will be pain. That will be a pain to deal with. Okay, so he decided to ignore your units. This is your opportunity to deal some real damage. You should now be killing all of his tunnels, because he's going to attack instead of defend. But you don't have much to defend with either. However, you do have hobbits and rangers, but I don't think it will be enough because of Shelob and Korkil, and especially also darkness now. And you pick Tom. Well, I think unless you can keep those units still, it will not be very effective.
We guard the White Tower.
And there is Drogoth, so your cavalry is now completely useless, to be honest. And this is level 3 farm.
Archers at the ready. Soldier battalion standing by.
So you are losing ground. Where is Drogo? Yes, that's what I was saying. He's going to deal with the cavalry, and everything else will deal
Archers at the ready.
with all your other units.
Rohirrim, my death grows near.
So there will almost be Balrog. Unless he goes with the dragon, which I doubt he will. Will he go for giants? No, he's not going for giants as of yet.
I need help.
So he has 25 power points. And now he can deal some serious damage. But as you can see, he is
Guard the White Tower.
harassing you all around, so you don't have any economy to rebuild, and that was a mistake you made as well. So there is Balrog. Anyway, that was a mistake you made as well after you killed all of his base, when you destroyed all of his production buildings, and then he got those expansion towers when I told you to kill them before they build. And that was the point in the game when you should have harassed everything around, but you went with forward, semi-forward siege works. And it didn't do you much good because it allowed him to rebuild his base. So at that point you should have focused more on destroying all of his economy while he didn't have any units. And that was a mistake as well, because you got him in the first place, but you allowed him to come back. And as you can see, when he got those heroes, you should have countered with your heroes as well, because those heroes are what prompted the comeback to be successful.
Watch it.
Alright. Well, at this point there is not much you can do. What did he go for? Well, he doesn't even go with upgrades. So let's see, will there be anything else? Let's fast forward. Well, maybe you're not giving up yet. Let's see. Alright, you got rangers. Well, that was a desperate move, I believe, because what could those hobbits do against that army full of heroes, riders and everything? So I think, let's see. Well, at this point you're just stalling, because I don't think you can come back at this point unless you go full heroes, but you don't even have banners, so I don't think you will. And for some reason, well, I think at this point he's just toying, which you shouldn't do. You should just finish you off. But he's toying for some reason, so let's fast forward.
No, no, no!
Alright, he wanted to show off his dragon. And now he's going to finish you off. Darkness have been used. Alright, anyway. So, like I said before, I'm not an expert. Man of the West definitely is not my strongest faction, but I think the biggest mistakes were giving your opponent time to recover after you finished all of his units and production buildings. So he had literally one half troll. At that point he went for Gorkil and Shelob, and you allowed him to rebuild the base and come back. So that was the first mistake. You should have harassed him more aggressively at that point. And when you seen that he went with Shelob and Gorkil, you should have reacted with your own heroes, with Faramir, Aragorn and Boromir. Boromir you already had, but that was definitely also a big turning point in the game, and you reacted badly, I believe, because you went for Rohirrim and you already had Eomer. So, well, Eomer wasn't a mistake because you had him before Shelob and Gorkil. However, after you seen Shelob and Gorkil, you should have definitely went with those heroes, because, well, their leadership and Faramir's arrow ability, Aragorn's blade master ability, all of that will definitely make a huge difference to deal with those other heroes. And yeah, that cost you the game because you couldn't deal with those heroes. I believe that Shelob didn't die once in the entire game, and yeah, that's a problem, especially because Shelob is effective against cavalry. Those slow Man of the West spikes cannot catch her. She's good against heroes when she reaches level 6, and combined with Gorkil and an army, you have seen yourself that it is very hard to counter. Another thing you could have done is went with Rangers earlier instead of Rohirrim. I think Rangers would have done a much better job against those half trolls and those goblin spams, which your opponent did very well. Well, and I think you played very well until the mid game, but as I said, those mistakes. Also, there was one mistake when your opponent didn't have anything and you had one battalion of cavalry and one swordsman, and you decided to go back out of his base when he didn't have anything to defend it with. You could have taken down some of the caves or maybe even a fissure at that point. So next time when you are in similar situation, you should check the tunnel and see whether he has something inside. If he doesn't have anything inside, I think that cavalry could have taken down some of that, at least. Well, I hope those tips were decent. If not, Bonito will probably tell you what I told you wrong. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I'll see you all next time.